Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Show. Please leave your bias at the door. And welcome to today's dearly departed review of the Premier League games for our dearly departed 5 in game week 7. If you're new here, I'm a Championship YouTuber and we are covering the teams that have escaped over the past couple of seasons and stayed there. Villa, Sheffield United, Leeds, West Brom and Fulham. We're going to have a look at a mixed weekend. Only 4 games because we did get the dearly departed derby between Fulham and West Brom. Right, before we get into the games, let me just give a couple of quick plugs. One is to our fan sponsor, Coyle, dearly departed, also known as Ben. Couldn't bear to lose us, marching on together. Thank you to Jay, who sponsors this and every other dearly departed show. And also a plug for the new merchandise store there. Head over to Teesprings. It's in the description. And you can buy t-shirts, mugs, phone cases, hoodies, jumpers, etc., etc. over there. Let's get into the action. And our first stop is going to be Villa Park, where it was Aston Villa 3, Southampton 4, in a game of many goals, and it has to be said, a game of many brilliant goals as well. And that is really going to play into the analysis of this one, big style. Some days, everything just flies in the top corner of the net, and certainly for a couple of players in this one, that was the case. There is how Villa lined up. And as we predicted, a very stable selection with possibly the only change being Traore for Trezeguet. And that appears to be exactly what happened. So Martinez in goal. The standard back 5 really there. Cash, Cons and Mings target. Douglas Luiz. We now have McGinn closer to him, which allows Barkley to get further up the pitch alongside Grealish and help him out. Traore makes the start. You can see it's only the last 29 minutes though on the right, with Watkins up front for Southampton. McCarthy, Bertrand, Vestergaard, Bednarek, Walker-Peters, Armstrong, Romeo, Walcott and James Ward-Prowse, who's going to have quite the game. Ings and Che Adams up the top of the pitch. Some idea in this one that Villa could get back to winning ways after that big defeat at home to Leeds. But what looked a very, very stable defence has now conceded 7 goals in the last 2 games. However, when we actually look at the nuances of how they conceded those 7 goals, we do appear to have a worldy hat-trick by Patrick Bamford and a bit of a masterclass, as I think Sky Sports described it, by James Ward-Prowse. Here it begins with, by the way, there'd already been, I think, 2 disallowed goals before this one went in. There is Ward-Prowse on the right-hand side. Keep your eye on big Vestergaard, number 4, in the middle of the goal. Is that McGinn behind him? I think it is. Well, it doesn't matter because he's going to get in between him and Konza, who is not covering himself in glory there, not challenging and kind of facing Vestergaard. But the big guy gets up. It's a great leap. It's a great header, and look where he puts it. So 1-0 to Southampton there, and the first of the Ward-Prowse set plays. And then it just gets to the point where if you look at the players in the wall, and you see this often when a free kick goes in, the players in the wall will turn around, watch it go in and just walk back and say, okay, fine, I'll hold my hands up there. And this is just brilliant, isn't it? So Ward-Prowse, right-footed, look how stable and lovely the technique is. Head over the ball, arms balanced, beautiful. All his body into it to get the swing on the ball. The wall's fine. Martinez, position looks fine. And look where he puts it, right up into that top corner. It's a brilliant goal by James Ward-Prowse. And sometimes, without any sign of delusion, you do have to hold your hands up and say, you're meeting a player just on fabulous form, and that was the case with Ward-Prowse in this one because, yeah, imagine being in the Wolf of this. Look at Douglas Luiz on the left, just kind of watching, knowing there's not a lot he can do here, or any of the Villa wall can do. In fact, Ward-Prowse a little bit closer. Again, the technique, you freeze frame it and he's exactly the same body shape. And to be able to get the pace from here in the direction over the wall, right into the corner. Martinez left standing and it's 3-0. And really, have you conceded any chances from open play? No. Okay, maybe the marking's not great for the first goal and Vestergaard punishes it. But for the second two, if you are a Villa fan and you're looking for your glass to be half full after this one, well, just a couple of absolute worldies. It does not matter what wall or what goalkeeper you put in the way. If you have a free kick taker who is executing as well as Ward-Prowse was, it doesn't matter. Those balls are still going to fly into the top corner. And then, when you think it can't get any more ridiculous, there's Danny Ings in the second half, edge of the box. Okay, he's got a bit of space. Cash could be tighter, couldn't he? But you don't expect him to put that there. And you can just see the blur. That is the ball grazing the underside of the crossbar and bouncing down into the side netting. And Southampton's finishing and execution in this game was just brilliant. Yes, maybe the first goal you can question, but the other 3 goals were all worldies. And some days that just happens. Everything flies into the top corner. It did for Southampton. So tip of the hat for them, and maybe some cause for comfort for Villa. You're 4-0 down and 3 worldies, really. The other crumbs for comfort is the fact Villa are going to make a comeback. How good is Grealish? Look, he's dribbling. 3 players are going to go to him. And he's managed to get this trick down, Grealish, where as he's dribbling and the defender is half engaged, worried about being taken on by Grealish, he now has the ability, whilst the defender's in that no man's land of do I commit or not, to actually play the pass. And it's just brilliant, isn't it? Look at that. He's look where Mings is in the middle of the box. He's on the run. He's being faced by 2 defenders. And just as he moves his shoulder left, just strokes this with the right foot. Look where he puts it. It's just brilliant from Grealish. Mings up ahead of his man, gets the header and puts that one in the side netting. So 4-1, then turns into 4-2. The other side of Grealish's game, very good at drawing fouls and drawing the referee's attention to them. Nothing wrong with that. He gets a kick. He goes down. You can debate the decision in the comments. Ultimately, didn't affect the final result. But it does give Ollie Watkins the chance to score from the spot now. Good for Watkins. Obviously, he got that hat-trick against Liverpool in that mental game that ended 7-2. Good for him to get back on the score sheet. And he now has 4 goals, which has a total from 7 games. Is very, very decent. And then again, this is just stunning from Grealish. Look at the chest control. First, he's going to engage Klein and go past him. And what a goal this is. Look, he's going to completely kid the goalkeeper here, making out that he's going to curl for the far corner. And we've seen him do this before. He gives the eyes. It's just comically good from Grealish, isn't it? Just sends everybody the wrong way and from outside of the box sticks it in the corner. And he's just in great form, isn't he? Brilliant stuff from Grealish. Signed the new contract. Picked up where he left off last season. 4-3 though. Villa are losing this game. But, and look, obviously I have a little bit of bias towards the dearly departed. Although I do say leave your bias at the door. I do think you can look at this one and say, what are you going to do in this game when Ward-Prowse smacks those 2 free kicks in? Okay, don't concede the free kicks maybe, but, you know, really. And Ings as well, smashing one in the top corner from outside the box. chalk them off. I know this is a dangerous game to play, and you're very competitive in the game. You might be getting some points, let's just say. Although, do look, it was 4-2 going into the 90th minute and 2 very, very late goals there. Look at the numbers, though. 56% possession to Villa, 10 shots on target to 4, 11 corners to 1, 4 big chances to 1. Yes, they've lost. And you do get your absolutists who say, oh, well, Ben, the only stat that matters is the final score. Well, when you're deciding the result of the game, yes, the only stat that matters is the final score. But if we want to learn and analyse, and one would assume because you're watching my analysis of this game, and you know I'm probably going to go into quite some detail, that you want a bit more nuance than that. When we look at the numbers, the clear narrative of this game is, yep, Southampton, thumbs up. You deserve the win if you execute as brilliantly as they did. But the clear narrative is it was some outstanding quality from particularly Ward-Prowse and Ings that did win this game. And that's fine. But we're always looking for signs of sustainability. Everyone wants us to predict the future. And, okay, you play that game a few more times and Ward-Prowse and Ings aren't quite as fabulous as they were with their execution. And Villa do get something. So, some signs of sustainability. Grealish in great form. Watkins on the score sheet. And maybe, if you're a Villa fan, you hold your hands up. And if you sat in the stadium when that second Ward-Prowse free kick goes in, you might think about a little titter of applause for James Ward-Prowse for a brilliant first half set play performance. And you hope, if you're a Villa fan, that you go on to the next game and maybe you don't get punished in quite the same way. But fair play, you tip your hat to Ward-Prowse and Ings, don't you? And you hope, from a Villa point of view, that that's not going to happen to you every week. It's the Premier League, though. It might. Southampton move up to 5th spot there. Look at that, 4 wins in 5. Superb. It might even be 5 wins in 6, I think, for Southampton, who are in great form moving to 5th. Villa regressing now. They need to hit the brakes on this slide. 2 straight home games. They've lost, 7 goals conceded. Yes, we've discussed the mitigating factors, but after those 4 straight wins at the beginning, you wouldn't want that to continue anymore. Hopefully for them, the case will be they came up against Bamford, who was amazing against them, got that hat-trick and a great lead second half performance, and Ward-Prowse in this one. So, look, if that's the case, Villa's results will pick back up. If not, and they're actually regressing to the mean, we never thought that the 4 straight wins was going to, play out. That basically makes them champions, doesn't it? So we never thought it was going to play out quite in that way, but they want to halt the slide as quickly as they can. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It was Aston Villa 3, Southampton 4. And we are going to continue on the theme of a dearly departed home team conceding 4 goals and getting punished by a bit of elite Premier League quality. It was Leeds 1, Leicester City 4 last night. And we worried in the preview, didn't we, that a team managed by Brendan Rodgers with those attacking players that Leicester have, if the situation played into their hands the right way, could they punish the open, flowing, attacking football that Bielsa plays? The answer, sadly, was yes last night, and it was Leeds 1, Leicester City 4. Leeds still coping without Calvin Phillips, less well than they did against Villa, it has to be said. The back 4 moves back to normal. We had Iain playing centre-half last game, didn't we? And Dallas playing right-back and Alioski playing left-back. So it's Meslier, Hembling-Cook, Cooper, Dallas. Click sits in Phillips' position in front of the back 4 with Shackleton and Hernandez starting. So no Rodrigo, who I believe is isolating. Costa and Harrison Ride with Pat Bamford, the hat-trick superstar from the last game, starting up top. Leicester, well, set up to absorb with the 3 centre-halves there, Justin Fofana and Fuchs. Mendy sat right in front of them with Tielemans with a little bit more licence. The wing-backs will support but get back. This sounds a lot like Nuno's Wolves, doesn't it? With Thomas and Albrighton. And then your attackers there. Quick and decisive Barnes, Vardy and Pratt. And sadly, as I said, set up in a similar way to Wolves, who won at Ellen Road and probably executed even better than Wolves in this game. However, a bit of a tale of two number 9s, let's just say. And we were full of praise for Bamford after the hat-trick against Villa. So please don't come at me in the comments about that. But everybody knows he should score that. Costa crosses it in. Harrison heads it across. Bamford, 5 yards out as he jumps. 1.5, 1.75 minutes into this game. And he can't get the header past Schmeichel. And very, very annoyingly, if you're a Leeds fan, it was straight up the other end. That is a simple ball into the channel. Barnes gives chase and pressures Robin Koch. And I think what happens here, it's a complete mess. Meslier moves across to the edge of the area to try and make a better angle from Koch. He's fairly innocent here. But look, wherever Meslier goes, look at Jamie Vardy. He's on the hunt, isn't he? And it's a dreadful back pass by Koch. Leeds fans, don't get emotional about this. Leave your bias at the door. It's not going to be a good game for Koch, and it is reasonable for us to give an honest analysis of his performance. As I always say, if you want to watch a fan channel, they won't be too critical. I've got to be honest and call this down the middle. It's really poor from Koch. Vardy is onto it, and he's just the seasoned pro, isn't he? Takes it around Meslier, and look, he understands there. Low percentage chance there on the left foot. He can slide it across to Barnes. That's what he does, and Barnes just strokes it into the net. And as I said, two number 9s in comparison in the space of 30 seconds there. Bamford misses the big chance. Okay, it's a big error, bad error from Koch, isn't it? But Vardy, then the other end, does exactly the right thing and squares it across to Barnes, reads the mistake, and Leicester have the lead. And that's exactly what Leeds didn't want, isn't it? Because Leicester, as we said, behind the ball, they can fold into that 5-4-1. 3 centre-halves there. It's exactly what Wolves did as well. Mendy didn't move from in front of that back four with Tielemans next to him. And now Leeds are chasing the game after just 2 minutes. And Robin Koch is chasing Jamie Vardy again, and he's not winning. That is all Brighton out on the right-hand side. And I suppose Koch, he wants to be on the half turn. I suppose he knows where Vardy is. But look at Vardy's favourite in this one. He can pull off to the far post, or he can make the run to the near post. And I'm afraid he's just too good for Koch here. He gets ahead of him. It's a diving header. But look in your picture there. No one is tracking Tielemans. He's run from the angle over Klick's shoulder. When Vardy heads it, Meslier parries it. And look, Tielemans on his own, and he's able to stick that into the net from 6 yards. Oh dear, 2-0 to Leicester. Vardy, his movement, Koch just can't handle him, can he? And Vardy with the header. I don't know, give me your thoughts in the comments. Should someone have been tracking Tielemans a bit closer? Should Koch have been closer to Vardy? Was Vardy just too good for Koch on the night? Probably yes to all of them. And sadly for our dearly departed, it is 2-0 to Leicester on 21 minutes. Leeds start the second half well. They make an attacking-minded substitution here. And we get a little bit more push from the central midfield. Pervader comes on. I think Shackleton went off, didn't he? So you get a very, very open-looking sort of central midfield picture where Harrison basically moves across next to Hernandez. So it's very attacking. And Leeds get their reward. They get a bit of luck for the goal, but they really did have a good go from 45 up to sort of the hour mark. Dallas is going to cross this in. I don't know what Christian Fuchs is doing because he jumps. He looks for all the world like he's going to win the ball and header it away. That fools Schmeichel, and Dallas's cross goes in. So credit to Bielsa for the attacking substitution. it was very risky, and so it seemed, paid off in the end. Leeds were really, really at it at this point. They're really attacking. Hernandez is going to hit the crossbar, and we do need to say as well, in that first half, there's another opening for Bamford where he gets chipped in. It's got to be touch left foot, finish right foot. And again, he doesn't make the first touch, and Schmeichel gets to close down. And I'm just comparing and contrasting. It's probably unfair because Vardy may well go down as a Premier League great when he's finished after what he's done with the title win and the 100 goals he's scored up there. But, and call me mean in the comments, I'm just putting it out there. If you switch the number 9s in this game, do you switch the outcome? Because Vardy was just ruthless, and Bamford maybe looked a bit more like the Bamford of last season than the world star, brilliant Bamford that got the hat-trick last week against Villa. 2-1, but Leicester bring in Mattheson off the bench. I believe, was it? I can't quite remember. I think Pratt went off first. But this is the thing that these higher-end Premier League clubs have got. Leicester is set up on that front three being able to do damage in their quality. And during this game, Rodgers is able to replace both Pratt and Barnes with Mattheson and Under. And as the game stretches, Mattheson and Under do damage here. Mattheson is going to play it through to Under. It's a bit of quality in the end. But again, look there at Robin Koch and look at Jamie Vardy. He's on the blind side. Again, he's in a bit of space. Koch is with him at this point. But now look at Vardy and Koch. And Vardy has made Under's mind. He's going to square it up. And I have to say it again, Vardy just way too hot for Robin Koch in this game. Look, I'm not saying Robin Koch is a bad footballer. He's shown himself to be a good footballer, and I think he played quite well in the game against Wolves I did as a watch time. I'm just saying, in this game, the battle between Koch and Vardy was a bit of a heavy victory, I think, for Jamie Vardy, who runs in and obviously sticks that into the open net. For 3-1, Leicester weathered Leeds' storm. Leeds were good after the sub, but then when it calmed down, when the game was intense and frenetic in Leeds' favour, Leicester did look like they were struggling to cope. But when Leicester could control the Leeds attacking flow with the three centre-halves and the wing-backs pulled back, that played heavily into Leicester's favour. Hernandez in the end got substituted and threw quite the strop, I think, when he went off. He didn't look like he wanted to go off. And here is the fourth goal. And look, I had plenty of comments in my stream last night saying, oh, VAR terrible. I'm sorry, guys. Wind back 5-10 years. This is what everybody wanted. They were saying, give the referees some help. Let them watch the replay. Give them some assistance on this. It's click on Mattheson. And the referee, I think it's Mariner, isn't it? Doesn't think it's a foul initially. He lets it go. But VAR in his ear says, can you go and have a look at that? And he does exactly that. And again, debate the penalty in the comments if you want. But the ref has a look at it. This is what we wanted years ago when refs were making mistakes. We wanted technology to be used. Last year when VAR was just doing it, people wanted the referees to do it. So I have to say, I don't know what else people want. I know we get a lot of fanatical, slightly obsessed football supporters who cannot cope when a VAR decision is made against their team. But I think as time goes on, they will be able to. And let's be honest, the most obsessed football fans will never be able to cope when a decision goes against their team. That's their issue, not football's or VAR's or the referees. He gives the penalty for this one. And up steps Tielemans. Look at that. Lays Meslier on the floor. And Tielemans gets his second goal of the game. And it is 4-1 to Leicester. Here are the numbers. They tell us Leeds 67% possession. However, shots on target 4 for Leeds, 8 for Leicester. Barnes, Vardy, very, very good. Vardy, extremely good, in fact. 10 corners to 3 for Leeds. So again, possession and territory. Leicester, like Wolves, were happy to cede. And this, as I was reminded in the comments, Wolves did win by a deflected goal. So maybe Leicester have this system down pat even better than Wolves do. But then look at the big chances. Leeds, 3 big chances themselves and all missed. And they hit the woodwork. So I would suggest Leicester rode their luck on the Hernandez shot that hit the post. But has Pat Bamford got his shooting boots on like he did against Villa? Maybe slightly different story. But these games are decided in the penalty box. And again, I don't wish to be mean. And maybe it's a slightly unfair comparison. But Bamford, touch and finish, couldn't do it when he was played through in the middle of the first half or later on in the first half. The early header couldn't do it. Whereas Leicester, when they got the big openings, they had Jamie Vardy up front and he ruthlessly punished Cox's back pass, squaring for Barnes. He ruthlessly moved in front of Cock for the diving header for Tielemans to follow in. Again, he's outrun Cock as Mattheson plays under through. And then, the penalty for 4-1. So, yes, Leeds were punished, weren't they, by the ruthless efficiency up top. Had Leeds had similar efficiency from Bamford, maybe we could have a different story. Maybe Bamford will turn into that ruthless, efficient player. Maybe Leeds will buy that ruthless, efficient player. Who knows? But Leeds are never going to play in the way Leicester do, are they? Look at that, 639 passes to 302. Look, from a Leeds point of view, we all know Bielsa is not going to massively change his philosophy. He's still going to bring his fullbacks forward. He's still going to attack. He's still going to have a wide midfielder with the fullback going round the outside of him, trying to overload 4 against 3 in the corner of the penalty area, which obviously leaves you massively open at the back. That's not going to change. But we all know that Bielsa is a massive thinker, isn't he? He will slightly tweak to look at this and look at when a team does set up in the way Leicester and Wolves have done. What can he do just to counteract that? He may give it plenty of thought, Bielsa, and let's be honest, you, me, everyone who's watching this, we could give it as much thought as we like. We're not going to come to as worldly a conclusion as the great Bielsa is, are we? So he may decide that, no, I'm not going to change anything. I think the risk I'm taking over the season will be a net gain. There may be a few games where this happens. But in the main, it'll do as well. He may decide that and change absolutely nothing. And we know that in changing nothing, he'll still have given it all the thought in the world, won't he? He may decide, I don't know, that he wants a double pivot in these games. Does he bring, I don't know, Click a bit further back next to a Calvin Phillips? I don't know. Bielsa will make that decision, and I'm sure all of you Leeds fans watching will implicitly trust him to make that decision. And it's just a numbers game now, isn't it, for Leeds and for Bielsa? Will this approach be enough to accumulate points against most teams? I suspect it probably will be. But there are going to be teams like Leicester and like Wolves that probably are going to be a harder matchup than the likes of Liverpool and Man City. Liverpool and Man City are not going to bring 3 centre-backs and 2 screening midfielders in front, are they? So, in the main, I suppose the question you Leeds fans need to answer is how many teams can execute that game plan? If the answer is only Leicester and Wolves that effectively, then perhaps Bielsa needs to do absolutely nothing and Leeds fans have got nothing to worry about, really. What they do need to worry about is getting Phillips back. And Bamford, look, he deserves at least a few weeks' grace after that brilliant hat-trick, but people will question, could he have been more efficient yesterday? And just when the other number 9 is Jamie Vardy, you know the question's going to be asked. I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to question. And for all you Leeds fans who are very devoted to your club, who are going to say, Ben, you're being too harsh on Robin Koch. Guys, I'm not. He was second best to Vardy yesterday. I get your enthusiasm for your club. Be very honest. Leave your bias at the door. Koch versus Vardy was a a smash victory for Vardy yesterday, wasn't it? And I'm not saying he's a bad player, and I don't think it's unreasonable for me to make that summation. I'm just preempting some of the comments I know I'm going to get, and I love your enthusiasm for your team, but come on, look at it very objectively, and Cock versus Vardy did not go well for Cock yesterday. Right, all of that being said, it was Leeds 1, Leicester 4, and I would love to hear your comments on all of that down below. And it is congratulations to Fulham. We had 3 dearly departed teams looking for their first win going into this game week. And it's Fulham who have got the win ahead of Sheffield United and West Brom. And it was West Brom that they defeated last night down at Craven Cottage 2-0. Now, Scott Parker gets a lot of criticism. An awful lot of criticism, actually. Some justified, some not. Over his tenure, Fulham have, in the main, given off the air of being slightly unconvincing and a project that wanted to get to there and is kind of there and edging towards it. Maybe bailed out a little bit in the Championship, often by Mitrovic. But we need to give him some credit now. Really terrible start to the season for Fulham. Some heavy defeats and some embarrassment on the TV. But they've got gradually more competitive. Parker has now identified a back four that he seems to be sticking with, and they've got their first win. So I'm not saying that another 10 wins are going to come, but I'm saying that in the interest of balance, Parker has been criticised and should be praised today. That back five that he's come up with, remember last year, this was Ruddock, Adoy, Hector, Reeve and Brian, completely changed. Areola in goal, Robinson, Adarabio, Anderson, I believe that's his debut, and Iain are the back five or back four and goalkeeper, and he's sticking with them, and they've now got a clean sheet and some sense of improvement. He's tried a 3 at the back. He's now in a 4-2-3-1. Lamina and Anguissa, so a bit more protection in the system as well. With Kearney, he's recruited quite well in terms of Lookman coming in, and Reed off to the right there, and Mitrovic plays up top. So, Scott Parker now has come up with a winning team. Will it keep winning? I don't know, but he needs some credit for doing that this particular game week. West Brom stick with what they did down at Brighton. I think that is an unchanged team. Johnston in goal, Furlong, Ivanovic, Ajayi, Townsend. Oh, excuse me. There's one little tweak because there you can see Kravinovic is going to play in front of the back four with Livermore up with Gallagher. That's just a little tweak where instead of having your destroyer in the space, you've got a ball player, which I like. I think if you're a neutral watching a game, what would you rather have? Jake Livermore there to stop or Kravinovic there to play make? Well, let me know when we're judging a couple of the goals whether Livermore might have been more of a shield than Kravinovic. But, you know, what you give with one hand, you take away with the other. Pereira and Dean Garner wide with Grant up front. I said repeatedly in the Brighton game, the success of West Brom this season depends on those three players to get goals, doesn't it? Brilliant in the Championship last season. Grant for Huddersfield as well, but Pereira and Dean Garner. What it depends on, though, and I had an interesting comment from a West Brom fan. Oh, Ben, we play 4-3-3, not 4-1-4-1. Use whatever terminology you're comfortable with. However, what I will say is, if Dean Garner and Pereira are way back and way wide and Grant is isolated, call it a 4-3-3 if you want. Call it a 4-2-3-1 if Gallagher moves forward a little bit. Call it what you like. If your best players are all in a big triangle, way apart and out near the touchline, is going to be less productive than if they're a bit narrower, a bit closer together. So that is all I would say in terms of the... it's not semantics with numbers, is it? But the debate as to what you're going to call a formation there. Here is the opening goal. Anguissa, who I was impressed with last night, receives that quite deep. And yes, can we ask the question, would they be better screened with Livermore? than Kravinovic because Anguissa, give and go with Kearney, plays it out wide. Look how he manages to drive and get up the pitch. Nice cross by Robinson. Brilliant from Mitrovic. He is on the far post. He doesn't do a difficult header to goal. And look, on the jump, cushions that to Bobby Reid on the back post, who headers in. It's a nice goal from Fulham's point of view. Anguissa does well from West Brom's point of view. I believe it was from their restart from a goal kick. Anguissa travels a long way, and perhaps I'm putting 2 and 2 together and making 100, but perhaps when you do switch a creative player into that holding defensive midfield position as opposed to a stopper like Livermore, that's what you sacrifice, and maybe the screening could have been a bit better there. I could be wrong. The second goal, though, and speaking of I could be wrong, I saw Iain, I think it was his first game of the season, playing the League Cup against Brentford, and I didn't think he played well at all, but Parker has stuck with him, and I have to doff my cap for a brilliant goal. Check out my reaction on the watch-along as well. A few people had a good laugh at that. Here's Iain down the right wing, plays it into Reid, who then plays it to Mitrovic, who lays it off beautifully, actually, into the path of Iain. And Mitrovic showing a different side to his game there. And look, Iain is going to drive that ball, from the edge of the box with his left foot into the top corner. Brilliant goal by Fulham. Brilliant goal by Iain. West Brom absolutely punished there. Bit of quality. And Carlin Grant could have done with a bit of quality here. Given away by, it's a combination of Areola playing out to Anguissa. But Grant gets clear. He could carry that a bit closer. He hits the shot left-footed. And look how close that is. But it doesn't matter, does it? Because he did not score. In the second half, I would suggest Fulham did a decent job of keeping West Brom at bay. We saw the substitution that Bilic used in the Brighton game, where Robinson comes in and Pereira can get a bit more central. Didn't work, and could have been a penalty at the end there. I've got to say, and I've put the laws up, and I wish VAR would actually do this when they make the decisions, because I think, look, again, I've said before, obsessed football fans just don't accept decisions against them. But those of us that are actually reasonable-minded about this will read that, and you can see at the top there, these are the mitigations for a handball. If the hand arm is close to the body and does not make the body unusually bigger. Ajayi, yes, it does hit his right elbow. It's close to his body. And I suppose the argument there, obviously the wording seems to intimate that that shouldn't be a penalty. And the argument is, if his arm was not there, it's still going to possibly hit his torso behind. So no penalty for Fulham there. They're still going to win the game anyway. And I think the VAR's probably got that one right. There are your numbers. 55% possession to West Brom, but 6 shots to 1 on target in Fulham's favour. Decent. 2 big chances to 0. It's a good win for Fulham, isn't it? They took their chances very well. At their worst last season, Fulham were very ponderous and slow in possession, but look at their 2 goals here. Very quick and decisive, with Anguissa driving, Robinson crossing first time, Mitrovic header back across and Reeve scoring, and then Iain just right back, boom, boom, slams it in the top corner. Okay, you're not going to score that second goal very often, but the first one, that's sustainable, isn't it? And Mitrovic showing some good intelligence on both goals to pick up the 2 assists. Nice to see that side of his game coming out if you're a Fulham fan. So well done, Fulham. I tip my cap to Scott Parker. He's tweaked and tried and trialled and got a win and stuck with his back 4. Of course, I'm not saying this is now going to facilitate a run of, 1.5 points per game and 15 over the next 10 for Fulham. I don't know. It might. It's a fellow ex-championship side they've beaten, so it's going to get harder. But he gets a lot of criticism, and credit's where it's due. The team was set up well. The game management were good. They were very efficient with their chances, and they won the game. So what more can you do? Does it predict they'll stay up from relegation? No, but it predicts that the line is moving in that way rather than that way as it had been quite decisively for the opening weeks of the season. For West Brom, yes, you can hold up the mitigating factor that West Brom kind of played into Fulham's hands, certainly for the first goal, and the second goal was a worldie. So on another day, maybe those goals are not going to happen. But they did. And the worrying thing, I think, from West Brom, and I mentioned this again, and I'll continue to mention it, is if you're going to set your team up in such a way that negates Diangana and Pereira, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? They are your danger. And even something like, I remember Blackburn doing this, where they played a 4-4-1-1. And the whole idea was be solid and get Bradley Dack free with Danny Graham up front. That was what they did. And my argument here is, if you're going to be solid, and in being solid, you lose the benefit of those star players, then just play a 4-4-1-1 and have two banks of four, stick Pereira behind Grant, and just try and get him on the ball and be solid. Otherwise, you're essentially losing your three key attacking players out of the team. I'd be interested to know what West Brom fans would think, because they did seem to be getting more competitive. Ivanovic had played his way in, and things looking stable. Gallagher was being used. Sawyers came back in last night. So, yeah, I'm a bit deflated from a West Brom point of view, because I thought things were going better, and they've had the defeat last night. And I think Bilic really needs to look at particularly Pereira. I know Diangana's a very good player as well, but Pereira, just whenever he gets centre, he's just such a good player and such a dangerous player. Just feels a bit wasted currently in that setup. Let me know what you think. Some work to do for West Brom, but well done, Fulham. Congratulations for the victory. And of course, immediately after 7 games, stop the clocks now. Okay, Burnley might have a game in hand, but stop the clocks now, factually, and Fulham survive, despite having not registered a win for the first 6 game weeks. It shows you down the bottom there, wins are absolute gold dust. And maybe Fulham, Sheffield United drew, didn't they? West Brom, Burnley drew. Really does not help. You've got to get victories in those games. That's what Fulham did here. Fulham 2, West Bromwich Albion 0. And finally, Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 1. Sadly for Sheffield United, they are bottom of our dearly departed pile and bottom of the whole pile. Not having a good season. Fixtures piling against them now. Liverpool and Man City consecutive games. I think they might have Chelsea next as well, which is a difficult game. We looked and analysed some decisions and maybe some tight things in games that went against them. Now I'm apologising for the fixtures going against them. Whatever the excuses and the reasons are, they need a win, and they need one quickly, because it's 7 now starting without a win. Okay, you're against Manchester City, but the games are totting up now, aren't they? Again, Stevens deployed at left centre-back in O'Connell's absence. Max Lowe plays full-back. The midfield is Osborne, Ampadu and Berger. I think that's what he did against Liverpool. Brewster and McBurney are a very expensive looking front two now. I think the thick end of 50 million quid for those two. That is expensive in terms of Championship and what this main channel is, but obviously it pales into insignificance when compared with the quality in that other team. De Bruyne starts, Bernardo Silva and Rodri behind. Sterling, Torres and Mahrez. Huge quality in that Manchester City team. But it was the right back, Kyle Walker, once of this parish, who hits a very decent long-range shot there. 2 Manchester City players in offside-looking positions there, but nothing doing there. They've got out the way, and look where Walker is going to put that one. Drives it low and into the net for the only goal of the game. The best it got for the Blades, that is John Lundstrom. And I mean, we're hardly calling that a big chance. Lots of pressure on him. Hitting that one first time. You can see it arriving. Lots of bodies between him and the goal. But he does put it over the top and does not hit the target. So another defeat for Blades. And yes, I know we say often, is it really the games against Man City, Liverpool, etc. that are going to decide whether you're in the bottom three or not? Probably not, but we're ticking them off week after week and the wins aren't coming. And I think the disappointment for Blades fans here will be, I mean, look at the numbers. It's pretty comfortable, isn't it, for Manchester City? 65% on the possession, 16 shots to 3, 8 on target to 1. Although it does say there, big chance and big chance missed, 5 corners to 2. 2 big chances to 1, 715 passes. Goodness me. So you just would worry, did Sheffield United push Manchester City enough in this game, or were they held at arm's length? You can let me know in the comments. But the wins just aren't coming for Blades, who, excuse me, I said bottom of the pile. Not strictly true, is it? Burnley, I'll correct myself there. I'm sure I'll get heat in the comments for that. Never make a factual mistake on YouTube, you get killed. But there you go. I apologise profusely. They're not exactly bottom of the pile, are they? But they are winless. That much is true. And just that one draw at home to Fulham, and Fulham did miss a penalty in that game. What is going wrong at Sheffield United this season compared to last season? Has the momentum gone off? Is this intangible things? Has the element of surprise been lost now? Are they missing Jack O'Connell? Do we read into the mitigating factors with Egan's red card and David Luiz not being red carded and a penalty not being given at Liverpool? Is it a combination of everything and they just need a win? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. But they need a run from somewhere. They're more than capable of it. We know from last season. But they really, really need a victory, don't they? Down in 19th place, just Burnley at the bottom, keeping the Blades off the bottom of the table. Get your thoughts in the comments. Sheffield United 0, Manchester City 1. Thank you very much for watching. That was the Dearly Departed review for Game Week 7. Obviously, we are going to an international break, so the Dearly Departed coverage will now return. When would that be? We're looking at Friday the 20th, possibly, with the preview there. We'll look in the international week. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see a story so far, maybe. And the story so far is Aston Villa are our leaders in the Dearly Departed, but lost the last 2. Leeds have started very competitively. Bielsa needs to go away and have a think about back threes and fullbacks folding back and how he works against them, and if he does indeed change anything. Fulham will go into the international break happy with their victory and out of the bottom 3 and optimistic that things can continue to trend upwards for them. West Brom, as I've said, have the conundrum to solve, the balance between attack and defence and what you sacrifice for trying to be solid in terms of your attacking players. And Sheffield United need a win from somewhere. And when do I stop apologising for them and say, look, they're having a bad season and this is not going so well? Let me know your thoughts on all of those things down in the comments. A couple of plugs. You can now buy merchandise from the Teespring store. The link's in the description. T-shirts, mugs, phone case, look, hoodies, jumpers. All of those you can buy. Don't Call Me Jesus t-shirt, and I've Just Witnessed t-shirt in different colours there. And we thank our fan sponsor, Coyle, who says, Dearly Departed, also known as Ben, couldn't bear to lose us. Marching on together. We thank Jay for supporting our channel here. And thank you lot for watching. As I say, get your comments in on what Dearly Departed content you might like in the international break. It's over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.